I'm absolutely sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. Only 4 hours ago, I did a live stream saying, do you know what? It's going to be nice to go into a game with so many options, not feeling like we've woken up on the day, like we did Chelsea away, Stamford Bridge with Saliba. Oh, he's not available. So we're going to have a brand new backup partnership starting at the Bridge. Anfield, 2 minutes into the game, Saliba come off Mosquera. Do you fancy a debut? What's that? Tottenham, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, all in a row. Gabriel's out for a month. It is absolutely relentless. The amount of injuries this Arsenal team get, the time with the injuries, especially out of big games, it is killing our season. In fact, it's not killing our season. We're doing so well to even stay top of the league, to stay in the position we're in the Champions League, to be in a cup semi-final, considering having to rotate for those competitions and get to that position. And yet here we are, ahead of another massive, massive game, and Declan Rice is out. Our best player, potentially, is out for a huge, huge game. One that I billed before tonight as maybe the biggest game that the Emirates will have seen this season. That includes Tottenham, that includes Man City, that includes Bayern Munich. This might be the biggest when you think first versus third, the context around the season, everything around Unai Emery, Aston Villa beating us this month, the momentum, Man City's form that they're on, everything. When you take it all into account, tonight is absolutely huge, and Declan Rice can't play for it, or play in it. I had a nap. I actually caught this news a bit late. I had a nap. I thought, have a little 30, 40 minutes. Just shut your eyes. Big game tonight. You're on TalkSport, James. Look your best. Feel your best. Take it easy. Wake up. Have a shower. Get on with your day. And this news. Now, normally I'd cover this on Goonerverse News, but it's so close to kickoff. And I want to do something when we get news like this, especially when there's not really a lot of time to go into it. What I want to do is actually talk solutions on the tactical pad. I think that's kind of the only thing we can do, right? I can sit here and rant and rave and go crazy about it, but ultimately, Arsenal need to pick an 11 to go out there. This was the 11 that went out on the weekend. I was hoping we'd have changes. I'd hoping this would be quite different. Now, we obviously know Declan Rice is one of them won't be playing right back, but there's doubts around Timber as well. So we're going to go into some detail. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about all this. I'll be live for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know. I'm going to try and gather my thoughts on this all. But for those of you who don't know where this has come from, Gunner blog of The Athletic has said that Declan Rice is expected to miss Arsenal's match against Aston Villa tonight after sustaining a knee injury in the 2-1 victory over Brighton. Arsenal hopeful it will be a short absence, but don't want to risk aggravating the issue further. You just cannot write it. AFC stuff aggregated some of that from The Athletic, saying that Rice is expected to miss Arsenal's match. He picked up the knee issue during the win over Brighton, but was able to play on and remained hopeful of being fit tonight. Can I ask a very perhaps insensitive and uninformed question? If he was hopeful he could play tonight, if it's a small issue, I think it's a short absence. Is it not worth playing through? Like, could he not be okay? I'm sure they've asked these questions. I'm sure Declan Rice wants to be on that pitch. I've no doubt he wants to be on that pitch. But there's just been a lot of, in recent weeks, small issue, they don't want to aggravate it. Only whenever we've heard that with Saliba and others, they've ended up being out for weeks. I don't know. I mean, look, what's encouraging, Ben White and Kai Havertz have both travelled with the Arsenal squad. Kai Havertz will probably be on the bench because if we need to bring on some fresh legs in that left A, it might have to be him to do it. Good luck, Kai. We haven't seen you in 11 months, by the way. In terms of Premier League football, he's played 20 minutes against Manchester United, I think. And then I think maybe the final day of last season. That's it. We haven't seen him. So, since January. So there we go. That's quite the question to ask of him. Apparently Calafiori and what's his name? Timber. Sorry, I was getting distracted by tweets. Apparently Calafiori and Timber haven't been spotted with the team either, but that doesn't necessarily, they're not being, they're not there. So let's not speculate on that, right? Let's lose our heads about what we can lose our heads about. But I tweeted, every effing game, every big game, we have to lose someone for F's sake. What is wrong with us? Can you tell I'm not happy? There's a good question here from AR. At Gunner Uni says, will you and other big accounts, I'm flattered to have been called a big account, will now start asking Sorry. Will you and other big accounts now start asking the right questions and stop talking about bad luck? Like, there comes a point at which, yeah, it's not luck anymore. It cannot be just luck. It cannot be the one in, one out policy. Someone returns, someone gets injured every single time. Welcome back, Kai Havertz and Gabriel. Sorry, welcome back, Gabriel. Calafiori gets injured. Welcome back, Kai Havertz. Declan Rice gets injured. It's a constant churn of in and out for Arsenal. And it always happens to be key players in key positions for key games. What do you mean Gabriel wasn't available for Tottenham, for Chelsea, for Bayern, Saliba for Chelsea away in the absence of maybe, again, one of our best players in Gabriel? So we have to start a brand new partnership. But people had I know we couldn't beat, I know it was 10-man Chelsea, but people were still clowning us for being in the position we're in. Look at the injuries. But it's true. When do we look internally? When do we start going, Arsenal, you're getting something wrong? The management of these players, the workload of these players, you're getting something wrong. You're getting something wrong. You must be. I like this tweet from Aaron. Kills the excitement before the game. It's true. Like, I mean, it doesn't, because like the Emirates and Arsenal can't use this as an excuse, but it does. It does just really pour cold water on, like, oh, there it is. Like, there's the bad news we needed. I remember Man City at home when we were surprisingly in a title race, 22-23. And I think it was Thomas Partey was announced not injured before that game. We've talked about Saliba in this game before Chelsea. There are constant injuries before big games. Bukayo Saka, I think, was spotted, before a Man City game. Was he with the squad? Was he not? Was he going to be available? Suddenly wasn't in the team sheet. It's just a constant, year in, year out churn of bad injuries to important players for key games. It's not Wolves at home. It wasn't Wolves at home. Oh, Rice picked up a little knock in the game before. They're not risking it. We're going to carry on. No, it's Villa. It's third place Villa on a Tuesday night. Last game of the Emirates campaign of the season at the Emirates. Last game of the year at the Emirates. I can't even speak. I've lost my head. Please help me make sense of this in the comments. I'm going to read what you're all saying. Let's see if I've missed any soup chats. I don't think I have. But thank you if you have. So, okay. Chaitanya says, if you want to be champs, you've got to do it without your best. Yes, I hear you, but like, we always do it. Like, we always do it without our best. Always. How often were Liverpool tested without their best on a frequent basis, time and time again last season? Like a handful of games at best. TJ Delaney says, let's just go full PSG and play around their physicality. Start Eze, Zuben, and Erdogan. Well, we need to find some solutions, which we're going to look at in a sec. This is so frustrating. Villa GA, you are emotional. Yes, I am. Like, of course I am. But like, people, please understand exactly what I'm saying. Can Arsenal win this game? Absolutely. The 11, we're going to build it in a sec. Do I think it's good enough to beat Villa? Yes, I do. Do I think we have the resources, the potential, the quality, the diverse options to cause problems? 100%. But like, when can we just bring our best pound for pound against another team's best pound for pound? Now, yes, Villa don't have cash. Villa don't have Kamara. They're self-inflicted. Those are their errors. Pau Torres injured, cool. But let's not act like Gabriel's going to get his first start in a month in a really, really important game. Let's not act like Kai Havertz might be back, but at best for like a substitute's role. Let's not act like Jesus, who's looking in better form than Gyökeres, we're still threatening not playing him because he hasn't been able to get up to speed off the back of an ACL injury. Like, ultimately, this squad is still dealing with the problem. Timber couldn't play the other day. So, again, is he feeling rusty? He didn't look good against Palace. Why? Because he's played too much football. Why? Because of the injuries we've had. Absolutely relentless conversation around injuries. And yeah, maybe it just gets to a point at which you just stop and go, well, what are we doing wrong? Like, when do we stop and look at ourselves? Now, okay, here's a super chat. Lions Den, James, slow down. All this you're doing, it makes it worse. It is what it is. Support the teammate. The team needs us now more than ever. Lions Den, absolutely. Like, but we need to separate the two things here. I'm venting about our bad luck and our frustration, the anger and frustration I feel as a fan for the players, for the team, for us going into this game. I asked the question about whether we're getting something wrong, because I think you have to ask the question. But do I use this as any excuse for Arsenal not picking up 3 points tonight, not putting on a show against Villa, not showing what they're about, coming giving their best? Absolutely not, because the ingredients are there. The ingredients are absolutely there. We're still a top side. Yes, I understand. There's a degree of let's calm down. It's fine, but surely people can understand why it's just this constant, relentless blow after blow on the injury front that just makes it so frustrating, because we're trying to beat Man City. We're trying to beat Erling Haaland, Pep Guardiola, Manchester City. We're trying to beat a manager and a club that have done this time and time and time again, who are able to roll out Erling Haaland whenever they want. He's there, he's available. Foden is in his best form. He's there, he's available constantly. I'm not saying they're not hampered with injuries to a degree, but Rodri, start of the season, they prepped for it. And now it's another big injury for us. I can't lie about how I feel, people. Once I've done this stream, it's washed off. Cool, let's go. Villa, bring it on. But I can't pretend this isn't how I feel right now. It's so frustrating, and it's game after game after game. I kept calm pre-Chelsea, kept calm. Anfield, I just kept calm. Went, right, okay, cool, let's see what we're about. But we're so deep into this season. This is probably injury 32 or something. And it's probably injury number 7 or 8 that we've talked about in terms of a big player at a very important time. So sorry, forgive me for being really frustrated and losing my head a little bit about it. Doesn't change what I think this team can do. Doesn't change how good I think our squad depth is. Doesn't change the fact that I think we've got solutions. Doesn't change how I feel about this game in general. But yes, I'm very, very, very frustrated about this. I cannot pretend I'm not. I'm sorry, I can't. It's just how I feel. Okay. Here's another super chat. Ahmed says, what do you make of certain ITK accounts releasing the Rice news just a few hours before the game? Feels very deflating as a fan. I mean, what's the difference? We would have found out when the 11 came out anyway. I hear what you're saying, but I just don't think there's... I don't really see what there is to gain or lose. We're finding out. I mean, I'd argue that it would have been nice to have heard this probably yesterday. You know, so then on the day you wake up and you get going, but they probably would have decided today whether he could play or not. Richie says something's very wrong with the trading regime and load management with the players. Yeah, it feels that way. It must do. It must do. Stay strong, James is hilarious. The guys, I'm fine. Like, it's okay. I really am fine. I'm just annoyed. I'm animated because I'm so frustrated because I want the best to go out to face Villa and try bring back the points. K. Praj says Arteta is responsible for all the injuries. Tevin says, I'm gutted too, but optimistic that all this adversity will harden us for the run-in when hopefully our luck turns. So many injuries in training, says Gotten, very few in game. Joe Arsenal says, hey James, Rice was seen struggling in the last game but played the full 90. Surely the injury problems are on the medical staff or the manager. Someone needs to be held accountable. We'll learn more, won't we, in time. Atlantic Zoo says, really would prefer to see Norgard. Marino's going to send my head to outer space tonight. Should we talk solutions? Black Crow says, nah, James, you're doing well. Continue with that energy. A True Gent says, get Norgard on. Safer pair of hands. Okay. Hand of Arsenal says, mad industry. Hand of Arsenal. Shout out to you. Hand, how do you feel about the news, the news being broken before? Do you think we should hear about it the day before? Do you think Arsenal should make that decision the day before so the players are ready on the day? Do you think they should, should we find out at 9 a.m. so we kind of got the day to get used to it? Like, this close to the 11 ultimately being announced just feels very deflating. Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts. From this, it means that Jan is a must-bring CDM. Mohammed says, Mohammed, listen, we're going to have to bring a lot of players. Time to bring in Mvila. Ron says, James, it's one game without Rice, maybe two. We have to adapt. City have been without a Ballon d'Or winner all season. Look, I hear it, but he had an ACL injury last season, Rodri. Then he, I think, had another setback at the Club World Cup. So they had all summer to prepare and know that Rodri wasn't going to be someone they could really rely on. So they brought in Reinders, for example, who can play as the sixth, but they've got Nico there too, and they built their team to be ready for that. If Declan Rice was on a bit, okay, like Jesus, right? So he's not as important. But if one of our key players were in that similar situation, we'd have prepped for it like City have prepped for it. They haven't had that many injuries to key players that they weren't kind of prepared for in what's been a crunch couple months for them. They've largely kept healthy and kept going. I'm not saying they haven't had injuries. They have had injuries. At one point, the injury list was mad. But I'm talking about the morning of big games, right when we're all excited, we're fueled, big game, what are we about? So often the news drops, and it's so frustrating. Okay. Solutions. Big up to all of you watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you are interested in my crash outs during injuries, and hit the like button if you're enjoying this stream. Okay. Let's do it. Solutions. So here's the 11 that went out against Brighton. Okay. So I'm going to just throw some players in that I think will be involved. Gabriel Jesus, Eze, Martinelli, Norgard, Kai Havertz, Calafiori, and Timber. So you'll have seen them all flying onto your screen. Okay. So a lot of players there that could be involved in some way, shape or form. Now for all my bitching and moaning, it is time to find solutions, because I am someone who likes to find solutions. Yes, I moan, but I like to talk about how we can fix it. So should we talk about the things we immediately think are going to change and be better for the team? I've included Gabriel. Where is he? Where is Gabriel Magalhaes? Or have I? Am I going mental? Oh, no, there he is there. Sorry, I did bring Gabriel on screen. Cool. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is this area of the pitch here. Now, I'm sorry that we talked about in the preview earlier, but now everything's changed. We did do a live earlier, and now we're having to redo one now. So, in terms of this area of the pitch, I still think Gabriel will come in, and I still think it's going to be Nkapie left back. And I think Lewis Kelly will come out. That feels harsh on Miles, but it's how I think we'll do it. I also think Timber will be okay. I think he's posted, as he often does before games. So, yeah, I think that's the back. I think we've got a back five. Do we agree with that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. In fact, I'm just going to take a second to sort something on the stream. Put in the comments who starts left back for you. Lewis Skelly, Calafiori, because he could be available, or Nkapie. Let me... Oh, I didn't know I did that. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know I could do that. I should get rid of that on screen. Yeah, let me know. Put them in the comments. Well, I just sort something out of my end. Little stream setup situation to sort out. Because for me... Okay, all fine. We're all good. Because for me, obviously Calafiori is going to start if he's fit and okay to play, but I don't think he is. All right. So then, what have we got? Nkapie play MLS in the 8, says Gigi. Yeah, you could do that. Calafiori, Nkapie with Cala, centre back. Calafiori if available. A few shouts for Lewis Kelly. It's very balanced. Very, very balanced. Although quite a few shouts for Nkapie, actually. A lot of people saying Nkapie with Lewis Kelly midfield. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Let's discuss this position then. So, I think for the sake of just saying it as it is, Marino's going to play. In fact, I think we can almost say this is probably the 11 now. This is probably the 11 now. However, there is a chance, if you really just want to get the better of them on the ball, you could just do this. You could just say pure tech. You could just say Eze, Erdegaard, Zubimendi. Have at it. Get on the ball and play. Get on the ball and play. The problem is a few things. One, I don't know how this looks. I mean, because you could tell Eze and Erdegaard to tuck in. So you could go a 2-3-5 build up. You could do that. Does feel like we might get overrun. It does feel like we could get overrun by their midfield, if I'm honest. You could mix up the build up by doing this or this. You could do a few things like that, for sure. But what you wouldn't have is Nkapie overlapping. You wouldn't have this. You know what I mean? Like, you just wouldn't have Nkapie and Timber bombing forward if you've got Erdegaard and Eze sitting and build up. I mean, losing the ball there, my word, you're putting a lot of work on those two. So, I'd love it. It'd be brave to go, yeah, Eze, Zubimendi, Erdegaard, let's play. And actually, if you wanted the best balance of getting like a technician in there, then it probably is Lewis Skelly. Robust, but suddenly just dropping him in against the physical Villa midfield. Now others are saying you could go a little bit more 4-2-3-1. You could just fundamentally play Zubimendi and Erdegaard. Zubimendi and Norgard, sorry. And just have Erdegaard floating behind Trossard and Saka, with one of Timber and Nkapie overlapping every time. You could, but I don't think he'd do that. I think he quite clearly likes a left eight. Look, it's going to be Merino. And the reason it's going to be Merino is because when Arsenal do drop in to receive the ball off the centre-backs, Erdegaard can pull out here. Zubimendi can pull wide. The centre-backs can split from Raya, so let's give Saliba the ball. And Merino can float up the pitch. He can hang in this area. He can run beyond Erdegaard and Zubimendi quite naturally. I also wonder, people, I hate to say this, and I don't think a lot of people are going to like what I'm about to say. I have to wonder whether, when Rice played right back against Brighton, Arteta might have not... Look, he wants Rice in his midfield. Of course he does. He loves Declan Rice. But there is something about Merino, Zubimendi and Erdegaard, when the three of them play together, they do have an understanding. And we do play some really good football with them. Forest at home, 3-0, was that midfield. Olympiacos at home was that midfield. There's another game I can't quite remember. I think it was the Champions League. It might have been our most recent win in Bruges, I think. I think it was, actually. That was a 3-0 win. 2-1 against Brighton, but let's be real, we should have been 4-0 up before they scored. We've played some really, really, really good football when it's been these three together on the pitch. I asked earlier, when I was venting and ranting, I asked, could Rice just not be okay for this? Like, is there just not a chance that, like, you know, he plays through it and he's all right and maybe misses Bournemouth, but back for Liverpool? Like, why not? If it's a small issue, they don't think it's going to be serious. But then I wonder whether Arteta and Arsenal have looked at it and gone, well, we don't want to risk aggravating it with Declan Rice. And actually, whether we as Arsenal fans do or not, Arteta rates that midfield. I think he does. I think it's a midfield he rates and trusts and thinks it has a good balance and thinks it actually is a really good... All three of them are a good fit for one another. And you know what? I kind of agree. So my expectations of Arsenal for this game haven't changed. They have not changed. I still expect Arsenal to go make a statement and go and turn up against Villa. I really, really, really do. But to not have, arguably, a PFA Player of the Year contender available for such a huge game is just so typical of us. It's so typical of us. Now, I asked about these three. I still got question marks over Victor Gyökeres. In my live earlier, as Jesus. And I still think it will be Jesus. But Gyökeres is probably the most likely, realistically. But I just wonder whether there'll be something about Mikel Arteta that actually likes having that midfield three out. Whether there's something about the midfield three he goes, yeah. You got the box crashing of Mourinho with the physicality. It allows Ødegaard to float. It allows him to play as a second nine. He'd probably play very well off Jesus in that role, actually. And actually, that is a team that has a lot of balance. Lots of technical players. 1, 2. Oh, you can't get them all at once, but okay. Lots of technical players in Trossard, Mourinho, Zubimendi, Ødegaard, Saka, Timber, Capie, Jesus. All of them. Every single one of them is a technical, established footballer in that sense. Someone you can really trust in possession. But you've also got a lot of balance, where Capie and Timber can go on the outside of these two if they want to play as inside forwards. But they can also tuck in, as we know. They can certainly tuck in and allow us to stretch the pitch in a different way. Like this. With Mourinho getting forward and Ødegaard in the pockets creating. So there you go. You wanted positives. You wanted me to look at it more positively. There you go. That's some positives. Some positives for you are, I think this is a team that has a lot of balance still and has a lot of quality. And then late in the game, you can expect Kai Havertz to come on if he's on the bench and maybe gives us some energy. If Mourinho needs to come off, Eze can come on. Martinelli can come on, as I mentioned. Where's Madueke? He can certainly come on. Ethan Waneri. I mean, look at this. Plethora of options. An absolute plethora of options, despite the injuries we've got. Where's Madueke? There we go. Another one there. Calafiori, if he's only fit enough for the bench. Norgard, if we need some steel. Do you know who I haven't even mentioned? Ben White supposedly back. And I think there's someone else I've forgotten. Can't remember. But yeah, Ben White, if he is fit for the bench. All right. I think that's enough head loss for a day. That's still almost 2 players for every position for this game. Without Mr. Declan Rice. Arsenal have enough. We have enough. I'm not frustrated because I suddenly think our chances of winning have gone down. I'm sticking with my 3-0 prediction. Let's go make a statement. I'm frustrated because I just want us to go into these games with our best team, with no excuses, with nothing to talk about later, with no questioning and debating, injuries and that being such a core part of the conversation around Arsenal. I just don't want it to be anymore. It's so boring. It's so boring. It's not fair for this team. Like, if Mikel Mourinho struggles tonight, sure, we'll rightly be frustrated, but he probably wouldn't have been expected to play today. Actually, probably would have. But do you get my point? Like, Mosquera and Capie. Some people would have said, well, they struggled at Stamford Bridge. Okay, but they wouldn't have been expecting to because Saliba, up until that day, was available. It's just, I don't know, frustrating. Very frustrating. To be fair, you're right. The depth is there, to be honest. Is it good enough? We'll find out. It should be. I think so. I think it should be. Let's round off the final super chats. Thank you so much, everyone. Garrett says we're not. Okay, sorry. Let's. Says we're not advocate setting up more defensive. We must play our game. Rice a huge loss, but they'll eat us alive if we sit back. I totally agree. AMT says if Cala plays, Martinelli or Trossard play very well. If Calafiori plays, it's definitely Trossard because they've got a good thing going. Les says, James, I say F it, put Calafiori in the 8 role. You've got the same bravery and determination as Rice. You might be right. Alvin says sack the medical team. I hear it. I think I've read every other super chat. Really would prefer to see Norgard Marino's going to... Yeah, I did read that one. So many injuries. Yeah, I think I've read them all. Cool. Thank you for all the super chats. I really, really appreciate it. And look, just back to this super chat. Lions Den says, all you're doing is making it worse. Is what it is. Support the team. Trust me. Fully supporting the team. Fully think we've got everything we need to win this game. Fully think we can go and make a statement and beat Villa. And I think I've made that quite clear, actually, with, this graphic here, just showing you all the options we've still got to make a difference. So trust me, fully behind the team, but doesn't mean it's not frustrating. doesn't mean there's not something we seriously need to look into when it comes to these injuries. I'll leave it there. People spamming the chat's probably a good time to round off. LJ Brown says, "Did we make a deal with the devil every time, James?" I hear it. Dania says, "James, Declan Rice getting injured while playing right back to fill in for some of the injured. Ben White got injured filling in for the injured during Timber. You can't make it up." Yeah, totally right. I will leave it there, people. Big thanks for tuning in. I'll do match reaction. I'll do live player ratings. I'll do a match reaction. It could be 3 lives in one day. There we go. From barely going live to 3 in a day. Match reaction will be out on Goonerverse news as well. And obviously any news we've got around the Declan Rice injury, we will cover there as well. Okay, I'll leave it there. Time to catch my breath. Come on, Arsenal. We can win this game. We can absolutely win this game. No excuses. Go show them what you're about. There's a good side is going to go out tonight. Let's go make a statement. All right, catch you in a bit.